These are beautiful, everything.
Oh, this beautiful rosemary here. It's got a nice fragrance, bouquet. Raised beds can be done all kinds of forms. You can use them in half-oak barrels.
Okay, these are the barrels, right?
Right.
And then these are the...
This is a constructed bed, yes. They're stuck together with a little metal pin that goes down on the corners, and that holds the whole system together.
What kind of wood do you use?
This particular bed is made from cedar.
Cedar, okay.
It also has an organic treatment to it to increase the life of the bed itself. And when we use organic materials, what we really are looking at is a rich, dark humus. And this is breaking down into humus. This is compost. As you can see, there's a lot of little fine roots. And this is from the plants, and they're feeding in there. Take a smell of that and see what you think.
It smells very earthy.
Yes.
Very, very earthy. It's
It's like
got a
if
good...
you're walking in a woods. It's moist, but it isn't wet.
Yep, there's no water.
Yeah, it's not puddling or anything else, but it is giving you the concept right here of just how well this material holds the moisture and how well the plants are growing. You can see some of the little fine hair roots just out of this picking, that these are called the feeder roots, and these are the ones that pick up the nutrients. Now, what I do in my systems, I add a material called worm tea. I grow funguses that are good for the plants. The fungus will attach itself to the root system and it will actually increase the plant's ability to uptake water and nutrients.
You mean talking about these little...
These little hairy roots.
Okay.
Yeah, and what happens is that if you increase the ability of the plant to bring in nutrients, you're going to grow a bigger, healthier plant. This fungus also has an ability to inoculate the plant and keep other pathogens, funguses and nematodes, away from it. It'll actually kill them off. The bacteria that we grow in there break down the plant material providing the food. So what we're having is a symbiotic relationship. What happens to the plant when it gets the fungus on there, it creates sugars, which feeds the fungus. So we have this cycle. It keeps continuing around and around. As this material breaks down, it turns into plant food. The fungus protects the plant.
These eventually break down too, right?
Right. Well, after you've harvested your plants, you can actually leave the whole base in there and leave it, and this will decompose. You really don't want to disturb your soil very much at all, because when you start to open it up to the oxygen, it causes the fungus and the bacterium to bloom and leave. And this is what's happened to our farming system currently. At one time, we used to have 5% of our surface of our continent with plant matter, decomposing plant matter. We're under 2% now. And as it continues, we're going to be more and more reliant on chemical fertilizers and pesticides to produce our food. We have a choice. We can start doing the right thing, adding more organic materials into our garden system, developing ways to propagate bacteria and fungus that are beneficial to the plant system, and overall increase the health and welfare of our food sources. I read an article the other day that they were taking samples, urine samples from children, and finding all kinds of pesticides in them.
That's frightening.
And what was interesting is that they went to organic foods and they didn't have any of these pesticides. Within a few weeks, the pesticides had been eliminated from the child's body, which is a big statement. I mean, who wants to be poisoned? And that's what pesticides are. They're nothing but poison.
So let's talk about this. What happens to leaves that...
Well, a lot of times people water with chlorinated water. Chlorine gets on the plant leaves, it kills the plants, just like it kills the bacteria and all the nasty things in your drinking water system. Have a barrel, fill it up, let it sit for a day, and that'll take the chlorine out of the water, and then water your plants, and that'll eliminate a lot of this stuff. Nothing outdoors is impermeable to bugs, and you'll see that some of these plant leaves will have little holes in them, and these are basically insects trying to consume the plant. When we activate the plant in the compost, the root system, the bacteria, the fungi bring together all the elements of that plant to be successful. It generates its own toxins to kill off insects. All right, so what happens is the insect will land on the leaf, it will chew on the leaf and find that it doesn't taste so good anymore. So it's going to go to the weakest plants it can find, and that's probably the ones in your neighbor's yard, hopefully.
Yes, yes.
But this is a very interesting system in that there is virtually no weeding. You don't see weeds in this place. What you see is a lot of plant growth, and you see a lot of produce. And they grow like crazy in this bed because it's so easy. They have all the nutrients, they have all the water, and they have a healthy environment to grow. Just like I said earlier about raising children up. If you give them the right things, they'll turn out good. Same way here. All right, we're at some tomato plants here, Marlene. If you notice, they're really tall and kind of a little spindly side, but I think that's basically because of this grapevine is shading off some of the sun here. We're going to be relocating some of these guys to take more advantage of the sun, but tomato plants love it. These are good, healthy plants. You can see that they've got lots of blossoms. There's a little trick to pruning tomatoes.
Okay.
Is when you see these little suckers, you can just pinch these off, and this will help stimulate the tomato plant to produce more and more blossoms as well as healthy plants. And what happens is now the tomato plant is going to grow tomatoes and not leaves.
Well, how far down do you go? I mean,
actually, you started at the very beginning, and
you start down here at the base?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, what you're trying to do is just leave a crown of leaves at the top for photosynthesis. It allows the tomatoes to ripen sooner because they're not shaded, and it starts that biological aspect of getting ready to deposit their seeds. This is a nice little bed, although it is, like I said, a little bit shaded. We're going to find another place for it. If you really want to do a garden and have fruits and vegetables year-round and have enough for you, it takes about 100 square feet of garden space for each person. So if you got a family of 4, you're going to need to develop about 400 square feet of garden. And that way you can run them along the edge of your house, you could put them in the yard, you could do a lot of different things to enhance your property by just making gardens. And it's a wonderful thing to do is when you have somebody over or a company, they'll gravitate towards those things because everybody's interested in good fruits and vegetables. And when you have those in your own yard, you get a little bragging rights there. What we did was convert an existing bed into this particular environment of the straw, alfalfa, and compost. We're growing some gooseneck squash here. As you can see, it has a propensity to take off on its own.
How big should you take?
This
Is that
size is you should avoid.
Okay.
This squash is way too big really to eat in that form. And squash about this size is really going to be great. There's enough material there that you can really throw on the grill without falling between the little holes.
You planted it here.
Yes, this is.
And it grew over here, right?
Yes.
They wander, right?
They wander. They just love this environment and they want to run. They'll just take off across your yard. So you're going to need a little training on that to keep them in.
Like children. Now we're at the Gooden School in Sierra Madre. And John, what's so different about this school from where we were at?
Previously? Well, a couple things. One, this is oriented towards school children. The 4th grade class here at the Gooden School takes care of the gardens. And so what they've done is lowered the beds down into the ground a little bit so children can reach into the garden and plant it and harvest it. And we use the 4th grade class to raise the vegetables, monitor them, track it, record the growth rates, and what they do then is harvest it, and then they get shipped to the Friends Indeed in Pasadena for distribution to the hungry. And there's a lot of places that you can, in your own communities, you can provide food for if you have an overabundance in your garden. And I highly recommend doing that because most people don't know what a good fresh tomato tastes like or a cucumber. And it's a great way to introduce the other people in this area about how good homegrown vegetables can be.
Thanks, John, for a really great educational morning. I feel like I'm back in school.
You're more than welcome, Marlene. This is one of my favorite things to do is to raise food and talk about it. And the way these beds work, how easy it is to do, is just a real nice thing to pass along. I just hope people see this and really take it to heart that they can grow organic fruits and vegetables in their own property, in their yards, or even in apartments in smaller containers. It's very important that people start to look at bringing nutrition into their home that doesn't have pesticides and various other chemical contaminations.
Okay, for more information about what you do, would you give us your website?
My website is naturesorganicgarden.com. There's always something new coming in the organic world, and I like to do experiments and report on that to anybody that's interested. And I also like feedback on how you solve problems, as well as how we can help others solve their problems too.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Marlene. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining me today with my first location shoot. This is Marlene Gibb with What Do You Do?